Okay, welcome to The Explainer. So today, our source material is unpacking something that is, honestly, absolutely extraordinary. The research we're exploring suggests that basically everything you've been taught about reality, yeah, it might actually be completely backwards. And, I don't mean this in some wild tinfoil hat conspiracy way, but in a very grounded, hard science kind of way. We are talking about peer-reviewed, laboratory-confirmed, literal Nobel Prize-winning science that has the potential to permanently shatter how you view your everyday life. This isn't just theory, right? We're looking at experiments that top physicists have sat on and debated for decades. So get ready, because by the end of this explainer, you're going to have the opportunity to see your entire existence through a completely different lens. Let's get into it.
I want you to just sit with this mind-bending question for a second. What if you're not living in reality, but reality is living through you? I know, it sounds like a philosophical riddle, right? But the answers we're pulling from today's sources actually point to laboratory-confirmed physics to explain this exact idea. And I promise you, once you grasp the mechanics behind what these scientists have discovered, man, it is incredibly difficult to unsee it.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Take the infamous Double Slit Experiment. This is a test that has literally kept physicists up at night just scratching their heads. So, scientists shot tiny particles, specifically electrons, through two tiny slits just to see where they'd land on the other side. Seems simple enough, right? But here's what happened. When no one was watching, the electrons behaved exactly like waves. They spread out, existing in multiple places all at once, kind of like ripples across a pond. But here is the absolute kicker. The moment scientists set up a detector to actually observe which slit the particles went through, boom! They stopped behaving like a wave. They instantly collapsed into a single physical point. Think about that. The simple act of observation completely changed the behavior of physical matter. This is not science fiction, guys. This is documented physics.
So what does this actually mean for you? If a particle exists in all possible states until it's observed, well, most of us walk around believing we're just passive observers, right? That life just sort of happens to us and we just have to react to it. But the physics points to an active mechanism instead. Listen to this. Every version of your life, the wealthy version, the deeply fulfilled version, the super stressed out version, exists as a wave of possibility right now. According to the research, your attention, your focus, and your dominant emotional state literally act as the observer that collapses one of those possibilities into physical reality.
And that brings us to our first major takeaway from the material. Reality is not fixed. It responds to you. Now, the sources are really quick to emphasize that this isn't some manifestation fluff or toxic positive thinking rhetoric. No, this is a direct, logical conclusion drawn straight from quantum mechanics. Reality isn't just this rigid, unchangeable room you walked into. It's a highly dynamic environment, and it is continually responding to your observation and your presence.
Let's move to and see how this builds. To understand how reality actually responds, we have to look at the quantum field. So what is that? It's the invisible energy underlying all physical matter. It's basically a realm where every single version of you exists right now as a quantum possibility. The version of you that's completely financially free, the version that woke up feeling totally whole, the version experiencing just absolute peace. The science suggests they aren't out there in some distant, unreachable future. No way. They exist right now, encoded in this invisible energy field.
Try picturing it like this. Imagine the quantum field as this infinite, calm ocean, just full of potential. Now imagine a wave rises up. That wave is you. Now, from our vantage point, the wave looks separate, right? It has its own unique shape, its own height, its own momentum. But the wave isn't actually separate from the ocean at all, is it? It literally is the ocean, just expressing itself in a specific, localized form for a brief moment in time. And that's you. Every single cell in your body is exactly that, a localized expression of this infinite quantum field. And this beautiful ocean and wave connection leads us directly to our second secret from the material. You don't attract what you want, you align with what you already are. Think of your nervous system, your thoughts, and your emotions as essentially functioning like a tuning dial on a radio. Whatever frequency you're broadcasting on right now is the exact version of reality that the quantum field is mirroring back to you. So the life you're experiencing is just a mirror of your current signal. It is not a judgment of your worth or your ultimate potential. Okay, here's where things get really fascinating, and honestly, maybe even a little bit uncomfortable. You have never experienced the external world directly. Not once. You've never actually seen your own living room or heard your favorite song directly. Crazy, right? Your eyes just collect light data. They're basically organic cameras with a really good marketing department. Your ears, they just detect physical vibrations in the air.
Your brain then takes all that raw, meaningless data and constructs an entire model of reality internally. Every experience you've ever had has been an interpretation built entirely inside the dark, sealed vault of your skull. Actually, scratch that. I mean, your nervous system.
You know, ancient traditions actually called this Maya, or the veil of illusion. It's this concept that the experienced world is entirely a projection of your internal state. And it turns out, modern neuroscience completely confirms this, which reveals our third secret. Changing your reality requires an internal nervous system upgrade. Think about it. If the world is a projection, you don't fight with the projection on the movie screen to change the plot, right? You change the film in the projector. You literally have to shift your subconscious programs to change the signal you're transmitting outward.
And this brilliantly illustrates our next point about how we perceive time itself. Albert Einstein famously called the separation of past, present, and future a stubbornly persistent illusion. At the subatomic, quantum level, time just doesn't flow in one straight line like we experience it every day. And what that implies is wild. It means the future version of you, the one who already has exactly what you're working towards, is not ahead of you in some distant timeline. Nope. That version exists right now in the quantum field, just waiting for you to simply tune into it.
So how do we actually tune into it? Well, the answer provided by the research is mental rehearsal. And the science backing this up is incredibly robust. It turns out the human brain cannot fully distinguish between a vivid, emotionally charged imagination and an actual physical event. Studies show athletes who just visualize their performance improve almost as much as the ones actually physically practicing on the field. And incredibly, a pianist who mentally rehearses, maybe they're just sitting on their couch in their pajamas with their eyes closed, they build the exact same physical neural pathways in their brain as someone actually touching the keys. When you vividly inhabit a future state mentally and emotionally, you are literally forcing your nervous system to start emitting signals consistent with that future reality.
Now, I want to deliberately slow down our pace for just a second here, because I really need this next concept to sink in. Most of us operate on what we could call the old story. It's this idea that you're just a small, separate person trying to survive in a vast, cold universe, just scrambling to get what you want before your time is up. But the science? The science tells us that narrative is entirely outdated. The physics shows that you are not a thing inside the universe, you are a continuous process of the universe. Every single atom in your body was quite literally forged in the heart of a collapsing star.
So the crucial point from our source material is just profound. You are the universe experiencing itself through you. Let me say that again. You are not separate from the intelligence that organizes galaxies, spins planets, and grows forests. You are existence becoming aware of itself, having a subjective human experience and asking questions about itself. And guys, this isn't poetry. This is the ultimate perspective shift directly supported by modern physics. Just let that profound cosmic connectedness really resonate deeply with you for a second.
Because when you truly operate from that cosmic identity, everything shifts. Instead of operating from desperation and constantly asking, how do I get what I want? You begin operating from absolute certainty. You start asking, what wants to be expressed through me? And that is a massive frequency change. The quantum field, it does not respond to desperation or begging. It's completely indifferent to that. But it responds instantly to certainty. It responds to an observer who knows exactly who they are and moves with that unwavering knowing.
Which brings us right back to the question we started with. What if you're not living in reality, but reality is living through you? Now that we've explored the physics behind it, the double slits, the collapsing waves, the quantum field, hopefully this lands completely differently for you this time around. The sources suggest you are absolutely not a victim of your circumstances. You are the active author of your experience.
So let's wrap this up. Remember the core takeaways from this reality toolkit. Reality bends to the observer. Your nervous system is the ultimate interface, meaning your thoughts and emotions act as the specific signal you're broadcasting out. The quantum field acts as the medium that carries and reflects that signal. And perhaps most importantly, the actual work is about internal alignment, not endless external hustle. Science is simply the language the universe uses to explain its own miracles. The pen has always been in your hand. So, what reality are you going to write next?